Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I have 3 decks for you, all 3 of which I have used to climb to Diamond 1. On one day, I played one, and then I got to Diamond 1 in 3 days from Diamond 5, and I played these 3 different decks, each one on a different day. So let's just start off with the first one that I played, which was Splite. Splite is by far one of the best decks, and I play it a little bit differently. Most notably, I play no Frog Engine. Why do I play no Frog Engine? Because I more value having Gamma as an additional 2 off of something like an emergency teleport, but more importantly as an additional hand trap. I feel like most of the time it is much better to have a going second plan in this meta than it is to have a going first plan. And the additional access that like Frog gets you to, you know, additional 2s or like some like stronger boards isn't all that advantageous, whereas Gamma specifically adds a lot more for going second. So yeah, there's that. Also, it helps more easily play around hand traps, or not hand traps, Dark Ruler no more when you have additional hand traps as disruption. There were a lot of times where it's just like, yeah, having like Effect Veiler or something else on top of my board was really advantageous because they would Dark Ruler, and then I'd be stuck with like 1 interaction from what I've actually set up. So there's that. I still think the Frog Engine is good, and it's probably the better way to play. I just don't like it. So let's quickly do the card by card. So we are playing lots of hand traps, the Effect Veiler, or actually I'm not going to do the card by card for these. I'm just going to show you lots of hand traps, as you can see. I am playing the Angler because it is very good due to the Ishizu stuff, being able to summon from deck so that you basically get off to the races. Lots and lots of hand traps, most notably. I'm also playing the 1 Cosmic as well as the 1 Harpies Feather Duster for, you know, difficult back row decks. This could also just be like Lightning Storm or what have you. But you know, I still like it. I am playing Gamma Burst. Gamma Burst is very good in particular due to being a just like easily searchable option for Jet. So yeah, there's that. We have the 1 Smashers. Pretty standard here. I'm also playing Foolish Burial for Nimble Angler. Drawing Foolish Burial is just like a godsend. Being able to dump Nimble Angler to either bait out an Ash or to just like get you off to the races is crazy. I'm playing 2 Red. Red just seems like the better option at the moment due to the amount of monster heavy decks there currently are. So playing the second one came up a lot where, you know, I'd have my board set up, they'd go Dark Ruler, and I'd have the red already in grave, and I can't bring it back. So now I can go starter for the second red, and now I have red online, and it was advantageous so many times. Anyway, as for the extra deck, we will do this. The 1 Jin, 1 Sky Cavalry, 1 Mannequin Cat. I never actually summoned this, but it is very good in specifically the mirror match. The problem is, normally I would go either first, or they would have like an unbreakable board, or like a board that I couldn't beat kind of thing. We have Onibimaru, we have the double gigantic Spright, we have the 1 Downard, and the 1 Zeus. Next up, we have the IP Masquerena, the 1 Dark, the double Elf, the 1 Unicorn, 1 Avermax, and 1 Underworld Goddess. It only came up once where having the 3rd Elf would have done something, but I was already going to lose that game even if I could make the 3rd Elf, so it didn't really matter that much that I only had the 2. Everything else was really nice to have, especially like having Underworld Goddess and Avermax and Unicorn all for IP Masquerena targets was very nice. So yeah, let's hop into the replay and show you how this deck performed. Alright, so here we are going first, and wow, this hand is very interesting. So we're going to start off with the Nimble Beaver normal summon to special summon from the deck the 2nd Beaver. We're then going to just special summon out the Gigantic, and then activate our Gigantic, special summon out the Carrot to then go for the Gigantic. Gigantic for blue, blue for Jet, Jet add starter here. We're then going to go and link off into the Elf, and activate the Elf to bring back the blue, and then go into Jin Buster. So this is a pretty decent setup, and it also plays around 1 notable card, that being Dark Ruler no more. Why does it play around it? With Spright starter, as well as the Infip, we have 2 interactions, but notably we can grab our red as well, in order to negate using something like the Jin Buster or what have you, which then negates and destroys, which is pretty decent. And then of course we have really good follow-up with the Nimble Beaver, and you know, Elf and etc. So overall, pretty decent. And of course, down comes the Dark Ruler no more. This is just a absolutely insane card in the current meta, and yeah, you'll see why. you should probably see why. Anyway, they go Lightning Storm as well to clear our back row. We're just going to special summon the red. That's basically all that we can do. And out comes Regulus. They're then going to activate Cyber Emergence to grab up Cyber Dragon Core. They're going to activate the core. I'm going to promptly negate and destroy it, and yeah, deal with that as well. I didn't want it also to be on the field so that it could just like link itself away with the elf as well. So there's that. Out comes the Regulus. We saw them search it, and then they're just going to walk over the elf. Probably the right call, but at this point we do have a way to deal with both their monster as well as their spell trap. So I'm feeling pretty good. We're gonna normal summon the Nimble Beaver. They're gonna activate their effect in order to negate the Nimble Beaver, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't destroy? Yeah, sure, that's fine. Because now we can go into elf and be protected with our carrot. So now out comes the blue. Blue searches out the jet once again. We're gonna go for the jet here. We're gonna activate the effect and get super polyed. Wow. Okay, very interesting. Last card in hand was Lightning Storm. Interesting. So they're going to go for the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I'm going to grab up the Gamma Burst because it is very funny. If they happen to just walk into our elf, we actually just get to boost and defeat it. Also, if they walk into Carrot, we can also boost, and now they can't actually deal with Carrot, which is very funny. So they're going to go to main phase. They're going to proceed to the end of main phase to try and go to battle phase, and we're going to go for the blue into the second jet. Pretty nice. We're going to boost up. They're going to then protect, which is actually very funny. I forgot that this had an effect to protect entirely. But honestly, I still think it was the right call to go for the Gamma Burst there. Mostly due to like forcing this out, and then they can grab up the Regulus. That's okay. But yeah, either way, they're going to add back the Regulus, so who cares? They don't summon the Regulus here, so I'm like, okay, that's very confusing. I'm going to special out another blue, go for red here, special summon out the jet, activate its effect to grab up the Smashers, and then we're going to go for the Smashers. And then I realize why they didn't go for the summon of Regulus. Yeah, it was the second super polymerization. Crazy. Okay, sure. They fuse off their monsters. They're the only monsters that they could have gone for because they didn't have access to a second one, or just like a good target. I was thinking, hey, Dragostapelia, that's pretty good, right? No, it's Mud Dragon. Whoops. Anyway, we banish the card with Smashers, and then go into Dark. Dark can then add back their monster, and at this point, my opponent has realized that the game is over and concedes. Alright, here is the second deck, and no, don't run away. Flunder is cool, I promise, trust. Okay, yeah, it's not, like, the most interesting, I will say, but I actually really do enjoy playing this deck. It is very fun. There are a lot of various different lines that a lot of people don't really think about that really do make it a lot more interesting. And so many people don't read M-Pen. They just choose not to read this card, and you steal so many games because of it. I really do think that this is probably one of the best decks to climb with, because you can kind of just turn your brain off half the time and still win. Very simple, very easy, just autopilot and victory. So notable cards or notable changes with this from normal decks is that we are playing, I am playing Maxi. I think a lot of people have cut this card. I am playing it. I think it just like ends turns. I'm also playing the one Nibiru to specifically draw off of Maxi so that I can end turns if I need to. We're playing the 2-Dimension Shifter, pretty standard, but I am playing 2 M-Pen with 1 Ryza. M-Pen is absolutely crazy. Sometimes I'll end on double M-Pen, and it just, like, shuts down my opponent. Oftentimes, people can deal with 1 M-Pen. It's very difficult for them to deal with 2. But, more importantly than anything, is what M-Pen does for the deck. What we can basically do is we can go for a double M-Pen play by, if we have, like, map and access to enough normal summons, basically Robina, Eaglin, etc. What we can do is we can go Robina, reveal off of map, banish M-Pen, right? We still need access to Eaglin, right? So as long as we still have access to Eaglin, this is what we can do. We can go Robina, banish the M-Pen, Robina add Toucan, Toucan add the M-Pen back, M-Pen normal summon, in order to search out the M-Pen. Now, notably, M-Pen is not a hard once per turn on any of its effects, okay? So, the effect to add a Flunder spell trap is not once per turn. So what we can do is we can add the Unexplored Winds, and we can go for that. Then we normal summon the Eaglin again, and we add the second M-Pen. Now, it's really advantageous if we also have access to another normal summon, whether that is just like normal summoning the Robina that we added back, you know, after a chain block or something, and then just using our actual normal summon to then normal summon the M-Pen that we just searched. And now we're sitting on 2 M-Pens, we search out the trap, we search out the Unexplored Winds, and we have map, which is just like game over for most decks. It's very difficult to play through that, and that is like your best line. And then on top of that, you'll have access to Eaglin, you'll have access to Toucan, as well as the Robina, all of which should be either banished or in your hand, which is very, very good. So yeah, at that point, you just kind of have everything that you need to. Yeah. Book of Moon is really good. I honestly am thinking about playing more of it instead of like more Maxi. The 41 cards didn't matter much. I didn't break all that often because of access to like triple Pot of Extravagance, the dualities, and the Prosperity. Prosperity is crazy. Gold Sark is absolutely crazy. This card is really, really advantageous because it just gets you into your Flunder cards, and more importantly, it chain blocks. Like, it's just a free chain block basically, which is very nice. Yeah, that's basically it. Let's hop into the duels and show you how this deck performs. Now, I did forget to say that this deck actually got me from Diamond like 4 to Diamond 2. So this one was kind of like the biggest chunk. Anyway, we're playing against Adamant Spader, and they are going to take a really long time to do their combo. So yeah, we're just gonna let them go. Yeah, Chaos Ruler, activate its effects. We're going to mill a whole bunch of cards, basically. I think you've seen this for the most part. If you haven't, well, look at that. They drew the Block Dragon, because of course they did. And out comes the Ausa, and I'm like, oh, no, that's not very good for me. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. So yeah, out comes the Block Dragon once again, and they're going to go for the Researcher here. They're going to activate the effect of the Researcher. They're going to reveal the Xenoguitar. Great, fantastic. The reason the Ausa is problematic is due to the fact that Ausa means that they can most likely go into a 9, and getting access to a 9 means that they get access to a hand rip, which we really don't want. So that is what I'm most worried about, because we kind of need this Dark Ruler no more to resolve. I will simply draw another one. It's fine. We'll just make it work, okay? It's fine, I promise. But yeah, out comes the Elf, and just in the worst position, but sure, whatever. Out comes the Doki effect is going to then add back, or sorry, special summon out the Researcher. They're then going to bring out the Block Dragon once again. They're going to banish in order to go for the Revival Golem, which will then add itself to their hand because they have run out of space. They're then going to go for the Changing here. Changing is absolutely crazy, by the way. And out comes the Block Dragon. Well, that's not exactly what I expected. Okay, sure. We draw the Apex Avian, sure. We obviously have to start with the Pot of Extravagance, which they do promptly ash, so it didn't really matter. But, notably, we did end up getting rid of their Ash Blossom, so that's fantastic. That is one of the things why I really like the Pot of Extrav. Just like activating it, even though I have the Dark Ruler, just being able to activate that and fetch out the Ash Blossom, because most players will just Ash Blossom that. They're like, I'm not going to use one of my board negates. Why would I do that? So they just Ash it, and yeah, it ends up costing them here, because now we have full combo. They're going to go and search a few more cards, which is fine, because they're probably just going to run out of materials. Anyway, Dark Ruler, out comes the Flunder card. We're going to shuffle back the Apex Avian, and the reason for that is because it's much more, it's you know, I want one of two things. One, Eaglin to grab M-Pen, or two, Map. If I grab Map, that is the best one because I get a chain block and it's fantastic. I draw the Eaglin, which is the second best card to draw there, and out comes the M-Pen, and now we can just tribute summon that. We're going to tribute summon over the Changing, and now everything else is turned off. They can't even activate anything on their field because of M-Pen. So that's fantastic. We're going to grab the Map here as well and add back the Eaglin. Then we're going to grab up the Toucan here, and we're just not going to normal summon. Now we reveal the Toucan and banish the second M-Pen. So we're going to go for the Toucan, add back the M-Pen, so now we can do the M-Pen play. So we're going to go for the second M-Pen, tributing off their other Synchro monster because it could be switched to the defense position, and that would be problematic. Then we're just going to add back the Robina and add up, since we already have the trap, we're going to add the Quick Play spell and just walk over everything. I'm going to attack directly because it's funny, and then just kind of pass the turn on this. So this is still pretty good. It's actually much better than what we would normally have, but we also did go second with the Unexplored Winds, which is absolutely crazy. So there you go. They're going to go Mudora to shuffle a few more cards. They're going to shuffle specifically their extra deck monsters back into their extra deck so that they actually have plays. Not bad. Anyway, they're going to start off with the Analyzer. I am totally fine with that. They're going to activate the Analyzer effect, and at this point I go, oh, they could grab Kawaki Maru Guardian, which is exactly what they end up getting. Oh, no! Okay, fantastic. Kawaki Maru Guardian, let's see. And the Kelbeck. Well, out comes the Kawaki Maru Guardian. Of course, I'm going to activate the Eaglin, and Yeah, it gets promptly negated. Okay, sure. Danger Mothman. What the? Okay, yeah, sure. Out comes the Danger Mothman, and then they are going to go into the Dragite. Dragite effect is then going to reveal a whole bunch of cards, and if they grab the right one, we could just lose the game. They need to reveal a rock here, and yeah, that was not a single rock. No rocks, no spins. Fantastic. They're going to go for Block Dragon here. They're going to activate the Xeno Guitar in order to activate their Tackle Crusader to flip our M-Pen face down. This is what I mean by the M-Pen tends to be really difficult to deal with in twos. So when, like, here, they have the out to the first one. Fantastic. They don't have the out to the second one. They can't really deal with it effectively, which is great. That's why we play the second one. That's why we summon the second one. They're going to do some really funny shenanigans with Small World and then realize that they can't do anything because they just royally screwed themselves with that Small World. So, yeah, they just concede there. Realistically, I think that they had a few more plays. They could have gone, like, Zombie Vampire into some things and done maybe some shenanigans. But in all honesty, there's not a whole lot that they can do. I guess they do have access to the researcher, so they could have special summoned the researcher and then gone into the Baron, which would have been great. So I don't know why they didn't do that, but alas, there you go. This is kind of just the idea of how this deck is supposed to function. And the last one is a personal favorite as well as my own favorite deck of all time. That is Bird Up, or Tri-brigade Lyrilisc. This deck is absolutely insane, and it got me from Diamond 2 to Diamond 1, and dear Lanta, it was so impossible to get from Diamond 2 to Diamond 1. I don't know why, just that one rank is so impossible, but I always get one win away, and then I lose 4 in a row, and then I get one win away, and then I lose 4 in a row, and it's like, come on. Anyway, this deck is more reliant on the Lyrilisc half of the deck to go into the Recital Starling, into Utopic Draco, and ending on, honestly, a perfect end board is something like a multiple, like 4-mat Ensemble Blue, the Utopic Draco, the Double Dragon Lords, the Simorgh, and the Apex Avian. That is an ideal board, and then also, like, Karos is on the field sometimes. That's an ideal board. That almost never happens. So, let's quickly do the card by card, or more specifically, the tech choices. So, we have the DD Crow in here. It's a search target. It's great. It's really nice if you already have a whole bunch of monsters on your side of the field. We're playing the two, each of the Cobalt Sparrow, the Sapphire Swallow, and the Celeste Wagtail, whereas we're maxing out on the Turquoise Warbler and Beryl Canary. Beryl Canary is absolutely just insane in this build, because what you can do is you can basically normal summon any of your Lyriliscs, link them off into Almirage, and then you have live access to your Beryl Canary to grab up a Recital Starling, which then that Recital Starling can be used to grab something like a Sapphire Swallow if you already have access to another monster, or like Nerval as follow-up. Or you could also just go into Assembled Nightingale and just kind of sit on that and hope that that is enough as well. So there's that. Really cool. We're playing obviously the triple Nerval. This card is really, really good in this build as well. Being special summonable off of Sapphire Swallow, being a really good send off of things like Kid or Fractal, being able to, you know, normal summon it for a Winged Beast, for the link summon of the Tri-brigade monsters, just you know this card. Karos, the one Kit, the double Fractal, and then the last thing, the one Apex Avian. I'm also including the double Droplet and double Imperm. Lots of times, it's nice to have like Imperm to actually interrupt your opponent, like against Splite, hitting the Gigantic is very nice. Whereas sometimes you just want to like deal with an end board, like against the Adamancipator, so having Forbidden Droplet is way more advantageous, so there's that. And then of course we have like, you know, you can go like Bird Call and then send it away with Droplet in order to deal with the opponent's board. Anyway, so there's that. As for the extra deck, few notable things. We are playing a pretty standard XZ lineup. Downward, honestly, is probably one of the most cuttable cards in here, due to the fact that a lot of times what I ended up doing is I would need to go immediately into Zeus, because if I didn't go immediately into Zeus, I would become targetable off of the Assembled Nightingale, because it's protected by Cobalt Sparrow. So instead of that, instead of going like downward into Zeus, I would just go straight into Zeus and be like, okay, now I'm targetable, but I'm going to be able to banish send everything to the graveyard. Almirage is not cuttable. This card is absolutely, like, saves really bad hands. It's also why we play the triple Barrel Canary. You can just link off anything, basically, and then go Barrel Canary. Very nice. It also, you know, a Nerval or a Kit normal summon also kind of does your combo for you, which is very nice. Double Dragon Lords is kind of for optimal plays. The Ferrigite, the Samorg, pretty standard. Apollousa is pretty standard for most lists. However, it's pretty bad. I never really ended up summoning it. There are a few instances where it's like, if you already have access to your Samorg and you go like Ferrigite and you have just like 2 other random monsters on your side of the field that aren't Lyrilisks somehow, both of them, or like they're both not level 1s in some capacity. I don't know how. In some instances you can go Apollousa. It's never really worth it, in all honesty, though. And then I do play the double Sure Egg. Double Sure Egg, it comes up a ton, and you might see that in the replay. But normally what ends up happening is sometimes you'll get enough cards into the banish zone, and then you can go and like normal summon or special summon something like a Karos, banish a whole bunch to go for the Sure Egg, and whatever other thing. Oh, normally, okay, that's what it is. You go Ferrigite, special summon out your Karos or whatever Tri-brigade, banish 4, summon out the Sure Egg, and the Ferrigite link off into your Samorg, and then your Sure Egg then searches out the Barrel Canary in order to then summon the Barrel Canary and whatever else was in your graveyard. Comes up a lot more often than you would imagine, so there's that. Most cuttable card, Apollousa and Downerd. Those are your 2 cards that you cut. You could switch out for anything. I've seen people play access code. I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary most of the time, because most of the time you don't even get to a point where access code is necessary. So there you go. Yeah, that's going to be it. Let's hop into the duel, show you how it works. All right, so here we are once again going second, and ooh, Nib and Harpies. Crazy. Anyway, they're going to show that they are on Punk. Fantastic. So they're going to grab up their Ogre Dance. They're going to go and then special summon out there and immediately into Baron. They drew. Most players only play this at like 1, maybe 2. So yeah, just non-searchable hard summon of a 7. Sure. They're going to go for the Fusion Summon here. They're going to go for the Rising Carp. Rising Carp is going to activate. I'm going to activate the Nibiru here just to kind of fetch out the negate so that I don't have to deal with it later. But yeah, that should be fine. Okay, well, out comes their Jam Extreme session with the wagon. They're going to then go into the Jam Dragon Drive. They're going to activate the effect in order to special summon out the Sharakusai, which is way worse for me. They're going to also add the Madam Spider, which is very funny. They have a normal summon, so they're going to normal summon the Madam Spider, and add the Danger, or the Dangerous Gabu. They're going to draw another card. They're then going to banish in order to special summon out the Xiamen, and go into Cicada King. Holy crap. So, basically what this board has is a bounce of a lot of monsters with the Sharakusai into the quick synchro. They have the 2 unknown set cards. One of them is the Dangerous Gabu, and then they have the Monster Negate. Now, notably, we did get rid of the Baron Negate, so that's very nice. However, Harpy's Feather Duster is going to put in a lot of work because it's a cool and interesting Yu-Gi-Oh card. Love to see it. However, the rest of this hand is going to be pretty interesting. They're going to special summon out their wagon from the grave, because why not? We're going to deal with the back row, which happens to be a very, very good idea. And then we're going to go for the Tenki here, activate the Tenki. We're going to dump the Cobalt Sparrow, and then we're going to go and activate the Charcoal's Warbler to special summon. Okay, not that bad. We're gonna go for the Barrel Canary here, and they will then Sharakusai in order to special summon out the Amazing Dragon. That doesn't really matter because at this point we have already gained as much advantage as we need. They're gonna bounce everything back. That's A-OK, because now we can just special summon out the Turquoise Warbler again. Yes, that is how that works. Yeah, the special summon of Turquoise Warbler is not once per turn. The effect to special summon is, but the effect, or the condition is just that you have no monsters. You could just special summon it. You could have 5 back row. You could special summon this card. It's great. Anyway, we're going to grab up the second Barrel Canary, and then I realized how stupid I am. But at that point, I don't know if you noticed their life points, but they were very low. So yeah, they just conceded there. Good game. So that's it for the decks, and in all honesty, these are kind of more catered towards me, but I do think that these are still some decks that are very good. Most notably, I think this one in particular is very heavily slept on. Tri-brigade Literalisk, and more specifically, any Tri-brigade variant is still incredibly strong right now. I think people just kind of, again, are bored of it. They've played it a bunch. They're not really that big of fans of the way that it functions. It's not the new spiciness. So, yeah, there you go. I do think that this deck is very good. Up there with, like, the Ishizu Chaos pile that's been running around. It's, like, probably better than that one. And the reason for that is because, similar to that, it's kind of an auto win. It doesn't FTK, but it kind of does. It kind of can. If your opponent just, like, doesn't have anything, right? Ensemble Blue with target protection, also with the Apex Avian, with the Utopic Draco, with the Double Dragon Lords. Yeah, that's more or less an FTK. But I think one of the big advantages to this build, or to this deck in particular, is the fact that it can play hand traps. I think that's also why Splite right now, or a more pure version of Spright, is seeing more play and is being, like, better, has been performing better, just due to the way that hand traps work right now. Hand traps are really, really solid. So there's that. That's, I think, the biggest issue with Flunder. Flunder does have, like, a lot of really good tools for going second, though, and Maxi is kind of weird in that deck, where it is good, but it's also not good at the same time. Like, it's really good to draw cards, but also it just kind of can lose you the game because of the Ishizu mill shenanigans, which is really frustrating. But other than that, like, all of these decks are really, really good. Spright is obviously the best version just due to its consistency, and in a best of one, consistency is king. But I personally had the best performances on Literalisk Tri-brigade. That's just because I am more comfortable with this build. So there you go. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.